the Flim-Flam film fans, and this is what we just watched. It could be a movie, it could be a trailer, it could be a TV show, but this is about what we just watched. I'm Chris.
Ed.
And we just watched Disney Plus Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars series on Disney Plus. Spoiler warning, we're going to talk
through 3.
Episodes 1 through 3. They're called Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Spoiler warning, we're going to talk spoilers for the episodes. If you haven't seen it yet, hit pause, go watch it, come back, we'll wait. But we just watched Disney Plus Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi. Let's talk about it. This is the third major Star Wars series on Disney Plus. We had Mandalorian, we had Boba Fett, which is technically its own thing, and then this.
Sure.
We didn't have anything else. We had and did we have a Star Wars movie in between this?
Not on Disney Plus. I don't think we've had a Star Wars movie since Rise of Skywalker.
Since Rise of Skywalker. But
yeah.
This was
quite the role there.
What?
Setting up a track record of sorts since Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, I mean we did get the animated series. This is the third live action. We did get the animated Bad Batch series, and we did get. I think there was like a finishing season of Rebels or something like that. There was like a finish up.
You're correct.
Of Clone Wars,
and then now that you mentioned, and I do remember there was like several like mini episodes of Star Wars Imagination, whatever.
Yeah,
where they had different.
That was like behind the scenes stuff. Not really.
No. I'm talking about. I only saw one episode where they did like an anime version of.
Yes.
Like an interpretation of Star Wars.
Yes. That
one episode was fantastic, and I don't know why I never went back to finish it.
We didn't go back for it. Yeah, I remember I did watch that one. It was like a samurai kind of thing. That was a very good episode. I enjoyed that. But this is the first live action series starring a Star Wars character that we know. Also, I would say that being that because I don't think. Well, we knew Boba Fett, but this is really taking place between episodes. Boba Fett kind of takes place after episode 6, but like also like after Mandalorian, which took place in a weird after episode 6 kind of thing.
I suppose, yeah. I'll have to sit down and map out this timeline.
But yeah, this is 10 years after. Revenge of the Sith. 10 years before A New Hope, because I think it's like a 20-year gap. Luke and Leia are supposed to be 10 years old at this point, if it's 10 years. And they're probably in their late teens, or maybe like I think. Someone said Leia was like 17 as a senator or something like that.
I was going to say in this show, no.
Not in this show, no. Like when A New Hope starts, she's probably like 17, 18, maybe
yeah,
20.
That's also a little confusing. I could buy that. I guess. I don't know how old Natalie Portman was, but sure, we'll go 17.
Yeah, because I think that's the whole thing is that they were both 17, 18, because Luke's still living at home at that point in A New Hope. I mean...
Does he look 18 to you?
I don't know. But the show is...
Oh, I said Natalie Portman. I'm thinking... yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no way
Carrie
they're
Fisher.
17, 18. There's no way.
At the beginning of A New Hope?
Yeah.
How old?
No way.
Well, like,
I mean, that could have been how the characters were meant to be, but there's no way. Like, I mean, the actors were like in their mid to late 20s at that point.
The girl who plays Leia clearly is not 10 years old either, so.
Correct.
But
Anyway, how about we jump into the episode?
Let's jump into all the episodes. Let's talk about some of the stuff we want to talk about. So, first things first, let's talk about one of the major characters we see in this is the Grand Inquisitor. Right at the beginning, we get this kind of scene with some little children and Jedi that escaped, but it turns out they may have turned to the dark side, decided to pursue Jedi on their own, and we meet three Jedi hunters in this episode: the Grand Inquisitor, Third Sister, and Fifth Brother. They are hunting Jedi across the galaxy, and they find themselves on Tatooine looking for a Jedi. Which I was like, wow, they really got into this. They went right for it. They knew Obi Wan was already there on Tatooine. How foolish of them. I mean, did he really think he was going to hide there for very long? But no. There's another Jedi hiding on Tatooine. What luck that Obi Wan could be like, oh shit, they found me. But no, it was a different guy. What did you think about
different
that?
Guy. Interesting. I don't know. Well, I wanted to ask you, have you watched or gotten into any of the animated series? I believe the Inquisitors are referenced in.
The Inquisitor, I believe,
Rebels,
is referenced in Rebels. Yeah, I believe it's Rebels. I don't believe it was in Clone Wars. I believe it was Rebels. He is referenced in that. Yeah, there are some. We'll talk about again. We can jump around because we're just going to talk about the character. But yeah, he does. Spoilers: get killed in the second episode by Third Sister, which apparently opens up kind of a weird death like timeline, because apparently he also dies in the Rebels TV show. I've seen some people talking about that and how that kind of messes with it. So maybe he didn't just get killed by Third Sister.
Right.
Like, is that like, how do you feel about that?
Which is what I've been hearing is a possibility, but then I don't know. It's maybe just another plot hole that this show opens up.
But the show
Star Wars lore.
Yeah, the show does also close up a bunch of plot holes, which is kind of interesting.
Is it?
It does.
Or does it retcon a bunch of stuff to fit what the show is?
I think there were some, from what I've seen about the show, there were some plot holes that people were like, oh, this closes up that plot hole. Oh, this closes up like that plot hole. Oh, this is what the character meant during that moment.
Well, enlighten me, because I'm kind of lost.
So to jump into like the third episode, we'll talk about the third episode. Well, I don't want to talk about that, but there is a moment. So there's a moment in I'm not sure if it was Return or in Empire Strikes Back, but Vader says to Luke, Obi Wan once thought as you did, and it's about like Luke trying to turn Vader back to the dark side, or to the light side. And that's a weird like, people say that's a weird line because the only interaction that we saw of Vader and Obi-Wan was their fight on the Death Star, and then before that was their fight in Mustafar, where it didn't really seem like Obi-Wan tried to get Vader to turn back to the light. It just seemed like they were fighting, and Obi-Wan and Vader were fighting, and Obi-Wan never made any attempts to try and lure him back. And this seems like this show might offer up more explanation to that line of Obi-Wan once thought as you did, that I would turn to the light. But we might not see that.
Well, that just seems like I could see people's interpretation of that. It just doesn't seem wholly necessary. Because what we see from episode 3 to 4, or I guess even in the prequels, we see Obi-Wan trying to prevent Anakin from joining the dark side and being influenced. And that line I feel like could be interpreted from that. And then between episodes 3 and 4, we never know what happens. I think a lot of that gap was filled in by novelizations, comic books, and animated series.
But a lot of that stuff has been thrown out from
allegedly.
Meh.
I guess. Well, that's what Kathleen Kennedy, I believe, said early on when Star Wars joined the Disney Empire, and now we see more and more, especially with Dave Filoni being involved, the creation of the Mandalorian, that some of this stuff is being brought back with Ahsoka and.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I'm just having more problems with, like episode 4. I never got the impression that Leia ever knew or met Obi-Wan before, and now we're seeing that they had pretty epic adventures.
It does lend itself to the help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. It lends it to her having known that guy, like her having been saved by this guy once, and now she's like, help me Obi-Wan, you helped me once before. I know you fought with my father during the Clone Wars. You also you also helped me that one time. She never
says you've helped me once before, did she?
No, she doesn't. But it kind of gives you
the implication saying that you fought with my father or for my father in the Clone Wars implies that she's never met him. That line alone.
Yeah, but also,
why wouldn't she ever reference, you saved my life once, I need your help again? It's very stately comment that never implies that they had ever met before, and now we're sort of creating a show and retconning that history because they couldn't think of any other plot or. Those things are bothering me more than I guess Anakin and Obi-Wan possibly met then, and it's creating a lot of plot holes that's preventing me from really enjoying the show. Which is a shame because I do like
that is a shame because I think that, again, I think Obi-Wan being Leia's protector, because I think a lot of people were going to have a lot more trouble if Obi-Wan was going to be like Luke's protector more so than if.
I think that's where the problem sort of started. From what I've heard from publications is Filoni and Favreau pretty much shot down the original idea of the show, which was almost Mandalorian-esque, where Luke and Obi-Wan were sort of traveling together, which again wouldn't have made any sense.
Right. I mean,
at all.
It would make sense. Yeah.
How would that have made sense?
It wouldn't make it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But again, Luke does only reference him and saying he keeps saying Obi-Wan Kenobi, but does he mean old Ben? Which is the guy that
ventured with, but no,
the guy that I've adventured with that I don't know his name is Obi-Wan. I know his name. I only know him as Ben.
That is not what happened. That is not what happened with Leia.
I think the Leia thing. I do
Absolutely
think the Leia
thing. I wholeheartedly have to disagree with you. I think
I'm okay with the Leia thing. I'm
for the sense of lazy writing, and they're like, I guess we could kind of fit this in.
I'm more
There's
okay.
No way you can listen to her original message for a plea for help and in any way imply that she had encounters with Ben Kenobi prior.
I'm more okay.
I just don't believe that.
With the audio or I'm more okay with the Leia story than I am with it if it were to be Luke.
That makes more sense, but it still doesn't make sense. The Luke thing absolutely doesn't work, so I don't know what they were intending to film originally. And I think a lot of production issues that the show has had is because they sort of had to rewrite the script, and I don't know. Again, it's just another Disney or Marvel production that seems to have more production issues, and yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, so well, that's kind of the plot of the show is that so far is that Leia has been kidnapped. Bail Organa pulls him back in. Obi Wan now has to go on this adventure and try and save Leia. And we get to meet and while also trying to evade the Inquisitors who used Leia as bait to draw out Obi-Wan. And this is also
specifically Third Sister, correct?
Specifically Third Sister made this plan because she killed the Grand Inquisitor. But we also see in this that this is where Obi-Wan is first learns that Vader survived, that Anakin Skywalker is alive, and that really just like hits him really hard as they try and escape Third Sister. Not very well, because they immediately get caught up too in the next episode because they get on a transport ship and they know exactly where that transport ship is going.
Can I ask you that scene where that's at the end of the second one, right? Where Third Sister reveals to Obi-Wan that Vader... Doesn't she specifically mention Vader first, and then Obi-Wan acts shocked?
Yeah.
But how does he know who Vader is?
He sees in episode 3. I believe they even show this in the beginning of the series. He sees the holocron, the hologram of Palpatine naming him Darth Vader. Like that's like a recorded thing that he watches. I think there's like Yoda says something along the lines of like, you don't want to watch that, or like, and like he still watches it and he sees that Palpatine lures him to the dark side. And renames him Vader. And but he still tries to call him Anakin throughout the series, throughout the fight and everything after that. But yeah, so yeah, she tells him, she reveals him. He's incredibly taken by that. Did this at all affect you? I thought this when you talk about things that are like, it's weird, like it is weird to me that he's gone 10 years, and I guess Tatooine is pretty backwater outer rim planet that like they don't get the news about what's going on in the Empire, that no one was like, hey, there's this guy Darth Vader going around killing all the Jedi, he's still alive, and like he never heard that in 10 years.
So I'll say, like, I have my issues with the show, and I don't know how, I guess, justified I can be, because I don't know like the lore of a lot of the stuff, which is or isn't canon anymore. I don't know. But I've only seen the episodes once. I've read a little bit about it since, but apparently Vader is supposed to be in hiding. Like, people don't actually know that he really exists.
Okay.
And I guess it kind of gets me stuck with the motivation of the Third Sister and why Vader would only use her and not all of the Grand Inquisitors, unless the Inquisitors are specifically working for Palpatine, in which case Vader is trying to circumvent the Emperor. And
no, I believe the Inquisitors work for Vader.
Then why wouldn't he just... Right. So I guess that's like originally, because for me, again, not having watched the animated stuff or whatever, when we're introducing the Inquisitors, like immediately Third Sister's butting heads with the rest.
That's, yeah.
And it's revealed later that she is chosen by Vader for the secret mission to hunt Obi-Wan. when their
No.
general mission is to hunt for all the Jedi, is it not?
No, what it seemed to me is that Third Sister was um singularly focused on hunting Obi-Wan herself. That had nothing to do with like being told by Vader to do that. She just was singularly focused on Obi-Wan herself for her own whatever purpose, whatever reason. She's like, I've heard maybe like when she was one of the kids that like escaped, so maybe she like heard all these great stories about Obi-Wan, how great of a Jedi Obi-Wan is. So she's like, if I can bag Obi-Wan, I will look so good to Vader. I will take down one of the best Jedi that there's ever been. I'll be like I'll be number 2 in line. And because she's third sister and because she again, it also comes from the way that uh um the Grand Inquisitor talks to her about how like you came from the gutter, you're nothing. Like she's thinking like if I get freaking uh Obi-Wan, they will have to listen to me. They will know that I, third sister, got Obi-Wan. I was the one who took him down. Even Vader couldn't do that. Like that was me. She was singularly focused on it. That's why uh the Grand Inquisitor was like, stop focusing on him. Like we've got more fish to fry, not just the biggest fish in episode 1. Or
But isn't there a scene in either 2 or 3 where she's speaking to Vader and
she
he's like,
does. She
"Yes,
does
I
speak to Vader after she kills the Grand Inquisitor.
right."
After she's she's found Obi-Wan because she's like, I found the guy you're looking for, Vader. How great am I? I did the thing that the Grand Inquisitor couldn't do. She's again looking
Got that,
for
but why would
more
that
clout
necessitate her killing Grand Inquisitor, not just have her tell Vader, "Hey, we're on his trail. Great.
because
Now I will command the rest of the Inquisitors, including you, to find him."
again it's a Sith are evil. It's like it's a it she didn't want to share her success with anybody.
Oh my lord. Dude, where are you getting, like, is this, like, something you're filling in yourself?
No,
Or is this, like, real?
I'm like, why would she kill the Grand Inquisitor? Because she didn't want him to take credit
I
for her
don't know, but
work.
that's
She didn't want him to take credit for her work. She was third sister, and he was the Grand Inquisitor the whole time. When sh when he showed up on the planet, he said to her, "He's mine. I will take him." And she's like, "I put in all of this work. How dare you just come in and take the thing that I just did all this work for?" That's like she did all the work, and then he shows up for the last 10 minutes of the group project and is like, "Do I get an A also?" Or like is like, "Oh yeah, I'm the one who like ran this whole operation." Like, no. She was pissed about that the whole time. That's why she killed him. That's why she didn't want to share. That's why she went to Vader
you
herself.
read all this in the first episode, and you're like, wow, this
Yes.
is a
I
deep,
read all
well
of this
thought out
into
character.
the scenes that are happening. You did not like, how do you not under like how did you miss that like she wanted all of this for
So
herself?
I didn't really completely, maybe not so much understand, but buy her motivations as a character. Like when we see the other Inquisitors, uh, we understand their mission. With Riva, she just seems angsty, and if we're going by the ages of the younglings to 10 years later, we have to estimate she's about 20, I
Yeah.
guess. Okay, so super young. I didn't understand why she was solely focused on Obi-Wan. She may have heard tales, but why not Yoda then? He was the guy that let all this happen. Uh, I didn't understand that part. I didn't really buy the character's motivation that much. If that worked for you,
Again,
great. It just,
I mean, I could tell you like why not Yoda. I mean, Yoda I think was even above like Yoda trained Obi-Wan or trained Qui-Gon who trained Obi-Wan. So it's like that. But I would think that Also, Yoda's probably a lot harder. Has been a lot harder to try and find. He's been on,
He's been equally as hard as Obi Wan. They didn't know where he was. They just stumbled upon him randomly.
Well, no, they didn't stumble upon him. She had a plan. She said, "I'm gonna hire some dudes to kidnap Leia."
But she didn't know where he was. Is my point. She hatched a plan to bring him out of hiding, but she didn't know where to locate him originally. She brought him.
Yeah. She hatched the plan. She couldn't come up with a plan to hatch. She didn't know, because Obi-Wan made the Jedi mistake of having attachments. Yoda has no attachments. Nothing that she can use to draw him out.
Would you like to get into the deeper philosophical take of the Jedi in this discussion?
No, we don't have to get into that. But I think, again, Third Sister is solely focused on getting Obi-Wan, because whatever her reason is, I can't tell you specifically whether it's something, whether it's something that she heard about him, but the Inquisitors report to Vader themselves, and Third Sister was circumventing the hierarchy of having to go through Grand Inquisitor. She was trying to.
Why, again, does Vader not say we're looking for Obi-Wan and not just any Jedi? Like, he should be your focus.
Because the focus is, I think, the focus is all Jedi. And if you just happen to run across...
But then we have Reva that's got this massive hard-on for Obi-Wan for we don't know why. We can imply, but we don't know why. And then we're shown in a later episode that he's telling her, no matter what, you need to find Obi-Wan. So why not send all of your Inquisitors working as a team to find this one guy? And then he's probably the biggest threat, possibly, outside of Yoda. That's a deeper discussion for another time. But we can say, like, 1A, 1B at that time. Like, there's no, like, any other Jedi that exists at this time are probably younglings or very inexperienced Jedi.
Right.
So why not have the Inquisitors focus, just one task? And if you happen to run into other Jedi on your hunt, go for it.
I think
that's just the part I'm not understanding.
I mean, it's been 10 years. They've been hunting Jedi for 10 years, so it's likely that they're... I mean, there's a lot of...
Fairly successfully.
Yeah. Almost wiping them out. I mean, wiping a good amount of them out. But, I don't know. I can't tell you specifically. Obviously, the show's not going to give you all of their motivations, but I just think her being singularly focused on Obi-Wan is her own thing, and again, like you said, I think Vader is also really in hiding, and he does want Obi-Wan. He wants his revenge on Obi-Wan, but he can't do it. And he doesn't, like, you don't want to send your entire army to do one thing. You want to spread them out. I mean, you've got other sisters and brothers to go and do that.
Specialized squads. I don't know how many Inquisitors there are.
Jedi hunters.
There's more than 3, I'm assuming.
I mean, they go up to 5.
Again, I don't know, but we're talking, from what we've seen, 3 or however many people out of the entire Empire force. This is Vader's squad, as I'm led to believe. Just send them to find Obi-Wan if they're the elite of the elite.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's... I'm just wondering. I that's why I'm not buying Reva's motivation, or really understanding it at this point, which I think goes more into the issues I'm having with the story and the script so far. And kind of like what we got into with Moon Knight, where it was 6 episodes, right?
Yep.
Or 8?
6
episodes. And here we were introduced Obi-Wan. They dropped 2. Or 3? 2.
They've dropped
the first week.
The first week they dropped 2.
So they showed us the first third of the series so far, and it's kind of all right. We're led on this precocious side adventure, and I was kind of wondering how much Vader was going to be in the show, and then thankfully he did show up in the third episode. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go from here. But like I'm getting Moon Knight-ish vibes about we're not seeing Obi-Wan use his lightsaber or his Force powers that much, even though he is a master Jedi.
But he's also been in hiding for 10 years. He's not really been, using the Force. I feel like he hid his lightsaber in the desert.
Which he knew exactly where to find, regardless of no markers or maps or.
Yeah, because he's a freaking Jedi. He can sense that thing.
So it works for that purpose.
Yeah. It's the friggin' Force. It does whatever the plot wants it to do.
Yeah.
It works how it's the freaking Force. I need to open this door. The Force will do that. I need to what?
Episode 2 or 3 when they're on the transport, Zach Braff's transport.
Oh yeah.
And all the stormtroopers get on, and I'm like, great, he's gonna use the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Nah, I thought this is great. He's gonna and when he says the wrong thing, and I was like, oh, he's gonna Jedi mind trick him and be like, that's not what you heard me say. And he's like, nope, she reminds me of her mom.
Which okay, but I'm like, we also know he could use the Jedi mind trick.
Very easily just be like, you didn't see us.
And then he blasts some dudes with, a blaster, which he previously called a barbaric weapon or a
random.
So uncivilized
and random.
Yeah, even though
he never used. I don't think. So. Yeah, he doesn't like blasters. But I don't think
Sugar used one.
He sure does know how to use one. I don't think he used one I don't think he ever used one in episodes 1 through 3 of the So it's hard when I say episodes 1 through 3, and I'm talking about the movies, episode 1, 2, and 3. I think he used his lightsaber the whole time. Oh no, he did use a blaster to kill Grievous. Yes, he used the blaster to kill Grievous, and then he threw it away and was like, "Ugh, I hate these things." And in this one, he's like,
when he was originally in the original trilogy training Luke, he mentioned that something to the effect of it being like a barbaric weapon.
Yeah, he holds up the lightsaber and he's like, it's not as random or as he calls it the lightsaber a weapon from a more civilized time and not as random or barbaric. I know he says it's not as random as a blaster, but I don't know if there's another adjective he uses.
So, you know me, I'm gonna be super just like, I have to make logical sense of a story, even if it's sci-fi. Even just give me a hint of logic. I get, all right, it's 10 years since he's probably meditated as a whatever.
Oh, no, he's been meditating. He's been trying to reach out. He's been trying to hit Qui-Gon.
Bicycle in 15 years. I can jump on a bicycle and pick it up pretty quick,
I mean,
if he's going on this rescue mission, you'd think, all right, maybe I'll try to meditate and rejigger my.
He doesn't. He doesn't have time to do a training montage. He's got to go get Leia right away. There's no montage time.
Do we also know why Leia's father insisted that it be Obi-Wan and not him sending, since they knew, maybe not specifically who took her, but where they took her to and they tracked her? Why not send his military
army
forces?
I feel like he said a reason that it was like I
feel like I was probably too busy rolling my eyes.
I think it was something along the lines of like, if I send my guys, it'll be obvious, or like something will be like
to kidnap your daughter. What?
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like there was some he couldn't get them involved because of politics. It's all politics with Star Wars.
Leia's existence because they were openly throwing Leia into politics, which at some point they're hoping Vader wouldn't know that it was his. I don't know,
because she doesn't have the Skywalker last name.
That's like another plot hole, but yeah, sure.
But yeah, I think she did say,
right?
What?
Vader's been practicing his Sith skills this whole time. He wouldn't be able to sense his children or
No,
find where they
because
were.
he's like half robot or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, he
Oh,
can't sense his
okay.
children except on. He's got to wait until Cloud City to realize who his children are. So the second episode, along with uh, Leia and all the other fun stuff, we have two great cameos in this series so far. We have Leia's kidnapper, played by none other than Flea, bassist from
Lapa na Paz.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He did great.
Had some great cameos over there. Just randomly, just sporadic. Back to the Future, right? And 2 or 3, I think he's in there. I think 2. He's on the telescreen.
Really?
He's in one of them. There's another movie where he and Anthony Kiedis are like in some kind of bank robbing movie, but they just have a cameo in that. I think with Charlie Sheen. And I'm trying to remember, was he in Baby Driver at all, or am I thinking of somebody else?
He might have been.
Like he was one of the first robbers in the Michael Myers masks. I'm probably making that up. I don't know.
I think he might have been.
Point being, he just shows up randomly in.
He was in Baby Driver. Yes, he was in Baby Driver.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here. Obi Wan. He was in Toy Story 4. He's in Baby Driver. Stan Lee's Mighty Seven. He's in a. It's really hard because then IMDb, it's like his all the music videos are on here too. So he's in The Wild Thornberrys. That's right. He plays like.
Oh right, he played the Savage Kid, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, he's got like a lot of like voice credits on like The Simpsons and Family Guy.
He might be the best acting musician that we have.
He might be. I don't see him in Back to the. Oh wait, maybe I haven't. I went past it. Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Let's see, where is he? He was in Back to the Future Part 2 and 3. He plays Needles.
Yeah, Needles. All right.
Plays Needles. All right, that's your Flea moment of the podcast.
Good to know my memory is in complete doggy do.
You got it.
Bantha fodder, if you will.
Bantha poodoo.
Hoodoo.
And the other great cameo in episode 2 was Camille Nanjiani as the fake Jedi, which I got a thrill out of that one. I was like, oh my god, he's great. I do enjoy him very much. He was great. He was kind of the best part of Eternals.
One of two. I did enjoy what the dude that could mind control people.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy. It's like Kyo.
Gary Kagan, who also cameos as another person in another comic book movie. I guess we won't talk about.
We talked about that in another episode. Go back and watch our the Batman video. But yeah, Camille Nanjiani plays the fake Jedi who uses magnets and remote controls to do things. Apparently, so like. Jedi aren't the only ones who can open doors with their hands. Everyone else can too, if they have magnets and sensors.
How popular or well-known are the Jedi at this point?
I think they're
like
pretty
10
popular.
Years down the road.
I mean, it's 10 years after the Clone Wars.
When in the original trilogy, Han doesn't believe they even exist at that point, and that's only...
Han just doesn't believe in the Force.
20 or 30 years? Or I guess the Force in general, yeah.
Yeah.
So... even with that argument, like, I just thought it was weird that just randomly,
I think
they're like Jedi widely known around.
I think one of the things that you have that is troublesome the more and more they like expand the universe is that like the original for like the first movie, Episode 4, A New Hope, is like so small in scope of how much is known about like the universe, the galaxy at large, that like it's harder and it becomes harder and harder for you to be like, how is a character that ignorant about a thing? Like, how does like Han, who's traveled all over the like galaxy, never encountered like even just like one random like force sensitive person, or like
which
even
is not an
like
uncommon. I think especially in sci-fi where
I mean, especially in when episode 4 takes place literally like moments after episode or after Rogue One, and Rogue One's features like very devout, like Jedi like force
right,
worshippers. Like he's never encountered anyone like that.
forgetting that actor's name, the Chinese actor.
Uh,
But
yeah, like no
I'm
one
one
like
with the
them.
Force, and the Force is with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never encountered anybody similarly like that, but because
So yeah, then Han is just particularly ignorant or a non-believer, I
yeah,
guess, which is weird. It kind of reminds me of Scully in X-Files, how she could never, like, every week's like, I don't believe this. How is this possible? Meanwhile, the week before, she's like abducted by aliens or impregnated by aliens or attacked by aliens, and she just never believes anything every week. And it's like, you just saw this.
yes, you just got abducted by aliens. How are you sitting here telling me? But yes, and this is also Camille also gives us our first hint of the rebellion that's building. He gives hints of like, oh, there's people out there that are trying to, fight the Empire or whatever, and this is our first kind of glimpse at that, or the first that we're seeing Obi-Wan learning about, oh, there's like a rebellion out there, which is kind of cool. It is still like a very small thing that like people are just like talking about in whispers. And yeah, that's a cool scene, cool character. He gets his like mind read by Third Sister to just pull all the information out of him. Like uh
So the Inquisitors, or at least with Third Sister, I'm not sure the origins of the other Inquisitors, but at least Third Sister had some like minor Jedi training.
yeah, I think that it
Do
was.
we know, or do you know if they received further training from Vader? At least Sith type training.
I don't know. I mean, they have red lightsabers, and there's like a whole thing
Yeah,
about how you get a
they
red
do seem to
lightsaber.
have Force powers.
Yeah, I
So
think
I'm
and
just,
again, I think it's hinted
but
at
they're not
that.
considered Sith.
No, I don't believe they are considered Sith. Um, because there's only ever two. I don't know. That's the thing that they talk about.
That's not true.
It's not true.
All right, wait, quick deviation.
Yep.
Quick, super quick, because this
Super
always
quick.
bothered me. So in the prequels, we had Maul and Palpatine, right?
Right.
But then there was Dooku
And Palpatine.
and Palpatine, and there was Grievous.
And Palpatine.
Weren't
But I
they
don't think
all sort of
Grievous was a Sith.
apprentices?
Grievous was like a weird robot thing.
Okay.
It's like
Dooku then?
Dooku
At least
then. I don't know.
he was a Jedi. He was brought to the dark side.
Dark side. And then he like kind of turns back to the light when he tries to tell Obi-Wan like Dooku tells Obi-Wan the entire plot of what's going on, and Obi-Wan's like, I don't believe you, you're
like,
a
was he trying
liar.
to play both sides? Maybe.
Yeah. But I
I
love
don't
how
know.
Dooku like tells Obi-Wan the whole thing, and he's like, I don't believe you, you're a liar, and then everything still goes to shit. He like tells him.
So I'll still question there's only two, but whatever. Yeah.
You can only have two Sith, but everyone underneath you is just like Sith light or
Sithish.
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 Sithish. Yeah. So then, let's kind of. Well, there's not a whole lot else to talk about, I don't think, other than the big episode 3 kind of finale thing, which is Vader shows up. Vader finally gets there because like we said, third sister, she's super focused on Obi Wan. She's got him. She's got him in her sights. She sent out those probes. They found him. And she knows he's on that planet. Vader shows up. And you see, like, we also get some more rebellion stuff, like the lady, the Ilaria Sand kind of tells them how to get to no, is she Ilaria Sand? I don't know if it's Ilaria or one of the other names.
No, she was like the mother.
Yeah,
right?
she was the mother. I think it's Ilaria Sand.
Yeah.
She sends Leia down a tunnel to escape
by herself. Yeah.
By herself.
Yeah. She's precocious.
Totally
so she's
safe.
Totally capable of defending herself.
She's 10.
Yeah. She, clearly, with the abilities of the Flash, able to outrun
everyone can outrun.
That child runs like a baby.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, how am I going to catch it?
Never lifts her knees.
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, I do enjoy. Like,
I like the one part.
It's a young actor, like Haley Joel Osment in Sixth Sense, phenomenal. That kid in Looper, I thought that kid was great, and he had like they really focused on his strengths, his like very limited lines, very focused scenes. I like this precociousness of Leia. I get it falls in line with the character, but no child speaks like that, especially at her age. And a lot of those scenes, the chase scenes, were laughably bad, man. I couldn't believe they filmed that, and it's like, this is our best shot. We'll have the people barely like waving their arms, like, oh, where's she going? She evaded me again.
The one dude.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. I can't believe that. That's what
he runs into the chest height high branch, and he's like, oh no, I can't move any further.
Where did this branch come from that I was approaching?
How could I be stopped? I couldn't go under this or over it. Darn.
Dude, like stuff like that really takes.
And she does it twice. She does it in a crowd of people.
Yes, she does it to Obi Wan.
Yes.
That's. I don't know. I had to look up the director's IMDb because I know that they did 1 or 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in season 1, which had a lot of great, fairly unknown guest directors. So I was super happy to see that a lot of these people are going to be getting their own Star Wars shows or something. This is not working for me at all. Like, apparently she did a bunch of like short movies, but it's happened like in our Marvel discussions where a common complaint that I've seen, I don't agree with them necessarily, but I guess how a lot of the Marvel movies do look homogenized in a sense, and people say that they look like they're made for TV. I can't disagree more. This show looks like it's made for like broadcast TV, and that's not like a like there's great broadcast TV shows like Lost, just sticks out. Breaking Bad. This is more like
The Flash.
Sure, maybe The Flash.
Oh,
like
wow.
This, like a lot of the effects, shockingly, were kind of janky in the first episode. The Leia chase scenes were really bad. I didn't understand the decision when they hung the Jedi.
Oh, well, they hung him.
Hanged.
Well, because he wasn't hanged.
But
he was hung
in straps.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, why not just show his feet and say, we have him? Like, you don't have to show his whole body because that just looked really doofy, but that's just personal preference in there. The Leia chase scenes, again, they're so bad I have to mention it multiple times.
I think with the Jedi, I think one of the things with the Jedi is that, like, if you just show dusty, sandy boots, you'll be like, is that whose dusty sandy boots are these?
Right. Well, that's
because there's so many people with dusty sandy
boots. They had a wanted poster or something, which they kind of did. They could have just said deceased, like, we got him, and fans could question, was it really him? We didn't see his face, and then the showrunners could say, yeah, he's dead. Like, we're not gonna to me, it's just better to go that route than to show him just, why would they wrap him up in straps and hang him from an art that just seems, because I understand they have to be PG-ish about it. You're not going to show someone hanging by their neck. Then just don't film that scene or do it in another way. And the Vader stuff, which could have been so cool.
Let's talk about the Vader stuff. Because you're saying you could have been so cool. And yeah. I completely agree that it was very cool. This was, for me, this was Vader. This was super badass Vader. This was Vader at his most ruthless we've seen since
Rogue One.
Rogue One in the hallway. He comes out, he gets off his ship. He's doing basically like the Vader, like walk down, walk straight. He's doing the exact same thing that the Inquisitor did, and like we also see that like Obi Wan is like, he senses Vader on the planet. He senses Obi-Wan, or he senses Anakin's presence on the planet, like when he shows up, because he's so force set, like he's like a force of the Force, and Obi-Wan senses that because he's so force sensitive, and he and he looks out and he sees this and he sees him. This is the first time Obi-Wan sees Vader in this suit that they've made for him. He knows that like this is his friend, but like it's not his friend anymore. He's almost as much or more machine than man at this point. He's completely gone from what he knew he was, and Vader's walking down and he's grabbing people and choking them and breaking their necks and just showing how like destructive he is and that he doesn't care. And if you want to come get me, Obi-Wan, you better come out, because I will just keep snapping necks and choking people. And he draws out Obi-Wan in that moment, and it's just like, I've got you. I will kill everyone on this planet until I get to you, Obi-Wan, and you are my prey. So go on, tell me how I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. I mean, that's the intent, right? That's supposed to be very cool. I get that, Rogue One and Obi-Wan, we're talking multiple $100 million movie versus whatever the budget was for this show. I'm just saying, I think the show deserves better in terms of the direction, the cinematography. The actions that happen in that scene are cool. It just looks like, I hate to use that criticism, but it does look like it's shot for TV. We're talking about a 6-episode series where, all right, maybe they could expand the budget. And it feels like the show was created by people that only watch the prequels, in a sense. We get like the precocious kid, the hammy comedic dialogue, and a lot of wooden acting by some of the actors. And once again, Ewan McGregor's the best thing about this show.
It is his show.
Yes, and he is also executive producing. But again, like the prequels, he was the best part, where everyone seemed to struggle to act towards green screens or whatever. He was just amazing. This, I'm thankful that this didn't happen in the 6th episode. Like, we just got a Vader cameo or something. And I'm hoping it like ramps up a lot more in the final 3. It's just, again, it's more of like the direction, the cinematic choices that they've been making. It kind of fell flat for me in that scene. But again, like, I want to see so much more Vader stuff. I want to see like a Vader series of movies or something to that effect. Like, I don't know if that show would work necessarily, but yeah, just
6-episode miniseries.
Him hunting Jedi,
we'll call it Vader
taking
of the Senate.
Yeah, that would be awesome. One of the few Star Wars comics I've read was like where very memorable scene with screen, but like what really makes Vader Vader, and we'll see hints of that in the show. At least I'm hoping.
I think that was
but
that scene.
Yeah. But I would like to see, if we could have seen an entire movie, sort of like that scene we got in Rogue One. Oh my God! Just give me 90 minutes of something similar to that, which is just nuts, like him plowing through people. I'm actually not a hard man to please.
Right.
So it's just that. Just give me something like vicious and like a Friday the 13th type scene, like what that was, that tunnel scene. Him just like horrifying people, and that would make like a borderline cool horror movie. Like a hard PG-13. Vader just hunting random people, or something to that effect. But I understand the purpose of that scene. The Vader, it just didn't completely click for me. It kind of fell short in the directing and the cinematography. What could have been such an epic scene. Like, I'll compare it to Falcon and Winter Soldier. That scene where John Walker takes his shield and he's like, killing that one guy. Essentially, we don't see what actually happens to him, but that one shot of him holding the shield up and it's covered in blood, and that blew my mind. Mm-hmm. That was like, I could not stop thinking about that for like days on end. And this, I watched it, I'm like, oh, it's cool. It doesn't look amazing. It looked like they filmed it in some like pit of dirt and sand piles somewhere in Jersey or something. It didn't look. I felt it deserved better.
It's right
here. And I hope that, like those amazing effects that you have behind you. So just creator-wise, I really want to see more, like the scripts, the character motivation. That's the whole other issue. This, where we're finally getting what we want, and it's like, to me, it's just kind of jarring how, again, made for TV it looked.
Okay.
So I think under better hands, that scene could have worked a lot better.
Well, after that scene was and you're specifically talking about the scene I described where he was walking through the street, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because after that scene was the fight, round 2, Vader Kenobi, where Vader shows up and actually pulls out his lightsaber. And he does like that weird thing, because like this is when Kenobi first pulls out his lightsaber and ignites it. And I love the dark, everything around him, and just the blue glow of his lightsaber coming off of it. And he's like looking around because he doesn't know where Vader is. And then Vader just shows up and kind of does that kind of horror movie, like, there he is. He's there. And he comes after Kenobi like one-handed with the lightsaber. And I do also believe at this time in the lore, Vader not only being like hidden like he is that he's not fully comfortable with his like robot body, but is also like incredibly still very powerful with it. So like he's wailing on Kenobi, and Kenobi is like blocking and trying to fight back, but he seems like incredibly surprised by the power that Vader has over him at this point.
So to you, Vader one-handing it, was that more because he's adjusting to his robotic body?
I think that was because he was both adjusting to his robot body and also just demonstrating like how much more powerful he was just with one hand. Like I'm not even using both hands and I'm knocking you back. Like
I got more of the impression, yeah, that he was playing with his food in a sense.
Right. He definitely was,
I
because
didn't
there's
think
another
of
part.
him. Yeah, I didn't think of him so much adjusting to the robotic body, but I could buy into that. I mean, that kind of follows a logical plotline of him. We don't know like how long he's been or in that tank or how often he's been out of it. I guess more importantly, how active he's been as Vader.
Jedi.
You know, so him kind of like wailing. I guess I didn't really put too much thought in that, other than he was playing with his food, and then later in that scene with the fire, which was cool as well. But I think this is like the second time in this show where Riva knew from when she found Obi-Wan to like this scene, like they sort of just let him run away, and they give
They
like
did
no
kind of just
pursuit.
let him run away. It was a little
Yeah,
weird that
and it's like he's right. He couldn't have gotten that far. We could just stop him
no.
here,
But
but at least here with Vader, I get the impression that he's willing to just, now that he knows or can confirm Obi-Wan is alive, I feel like he's just gonna chase him to wherever just to mess with him.
right. Or yeah, it does kind of offer that idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, but then Obi-Wan just goes back and hides on Tatooine, the last place you would look.
The place that he was hiding it before.
Yeah, the last place you would look and the first place you started looking at the very beginning of the show. But yeah, so we get
Yes. I
Obi-Wan
didn't
gets
even think about that he goes back to T2.
he gets dragged through the
Oh god.
ignited things, and I was like, man, that's gonna be like third, fourth degree burns all over Kenobi's body. But like he gets out of
Yeah.
that fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
I was
His
like,
cloak burns.
his
He's probably
cloak
all right.
burns. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
No physical scars on his face. Nothing to
No
mess up
singed hair.
the moneymaker. Because he still has to make it to A New Hope
Yeah.
without being a scarred monster of friggin'
Well, maybe that's how they explain him looking like Alec Guinness.
yeah,
He just has a ton of
Alec.
back to tank
That's how he
surgery
hides.
to
They're
like
all like,
fix the
oh,
burning.
that's how he hides. They're like, oh, he looks exactly like Ewan McGregor, and then they're like, who's that guy? I don't know. He looks too much like Alec Guinness, and that's clearly
Yeah,
not Obi-Wan. He
maybe,
gets the back to
because
tanked.
considering Ewan McGregor's the age Alec Guinness was in
I
A New
don't believe
Hope.
that's true. I think it was the thing I heard was it was uh Mark Hamill is the age Alec Guinness was at the beginning of New Hope.
Okay.
That's what it was. I've heard, like, I think I got that wrong once. But it was because it was when um uh Rise of Skywalker or whatever the second one was.
You're right.
It was like
It
everyone was like,
says here he was 58, which makes more sense.
yeah,
So I was misled by the internet. Ewan McGregor is only 51.
mm,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Um,
those are some rough 7 years ahead of him.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of this Kenobi series. I'm interested to see where it goes. I mean, we know what where it ends up. So obviously there's only so much weird stuff they can do or so much stuff they can do. But so far I'm digging the show a lot. I think we're going to kind of wrap it up here, but I am digging the show. a whole bunch. I was really happy to see the Vader and Obi-Wan thing. Oh, this was the other plot hole during that Obi-Wan Vader fight. So in episode 4 in A New Hope, there's a scene where Vader says, "I sensed something that I haven't sensed since," and then he walks away. So like it was that plot hole of, it wasn't really a plot hole, but it like kind of uh is a kind of like an open-ended sort of thing where like Vader says this like one almost throwaway line, but and he never finishes the sentence. So like they're able to finish the sentence themselves. So like he can be like, "I sense something that I haven't sensed since," and instead of being the end of that sentence being Mustafar, it's now this fight that they just had.
Yeah.
So it was more recent, even though it was more recent than Mustafar, but not as recent as like 2 days ago. So that was
it sounds like you have a generally positive opinion about
I
the
have
show.
a generally positive opinion about the show. I am enjoying the show. I'm enjoying seeing Obi-Wan. I never watched any of the animated series. I know there was like some stuff with Obi-Wan and what's his name? The guy from
John Cena?
the guy from Phantom Menace, the Darth Maul. I know there's some stuff with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul in the animated series, where like Maul encounters Obi-Wan on Tatooine, and Obi-Wan just finishes him off. But I think it's also a younger than this Obi-Wan.
Real quick, the animated series is considered canon then?
I believe
but
so.
the novelizations aren't.
Yeah, I believe most of the novelizations pre-Disney's acquisition were thrown out. They were all thrown into Legends. Anything that's come out post Disney has been kind of become more or less canon.
But a lot of the animated stuff also came out or started before the acquisition, right?
Yeah, a lot of it did, but I think they still tried to work it in.
Okay.
I think one of the things is that they said like if it's in the movies, it's canon, like for sure. It seems like they're trying to make the TV shows canon, which works really well for like Boba Fett and for the Mandalorian because that's just kind of side stuff.
Did it?
What?
I was referring to Boba Fett.
Well, it's side stuff, so it's not like you're worrying about like because they could kill Boba Fett in like the third episode and you'd be like, oh, okay, so that's how Boba Fett died. But it doesn't affect. Like, if they killed Obi-Wan in the third episode of the Obi-Wan series, you'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. You could kill the Mandalorian, or you could kill, any of those other characters, and it wouldn't affect, the plot. I mean, they did kill the Grand Inquisitor, but that.
Can I ask you this? I'm assuming you've read some of, like, the general internet reaction, whatever, which I think has been pretty positive.
They have.
About this show.
Yeah.
Outside of like racist attacks towards particular actors.
I would read those, but I read about them.
Right. But I'm saying just the general reaction to the show has been positive.
That's what I feel. I feel like or maybe I'm just like searching out positive things. I mean,
I'm just curious because I do like to read feedback, and what I'm getting is a pretty generally favorable impression.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you is it fair to say you're reacting more positively to the show than you did Boba Fett?
Yes. Then Boba Fett, yes. Season 1 of the Men. I think Boba Fett just because of where Boba Fett was in the timeline of the character, and what was like Boba Fett just, I mean, you know, I mean, it was a weird political story about a guy who just like was trying to gain
Wanted
criminal
to be a crime
clout. He
lord,
wanted to
but
be a
also
crime
like
lord, but also
a
be like
good
the
guy
good guy
too.
crime lord, and he's on
So some of
Tatooine.
it was nonsensical,
Yeah.
but would you say that generally speaking, because what I've seen is again Obi-Wan getting pretty favorable reviews, but I do remember people actively shitting on Boba Fett, which I did too. But now if I'm comparing both right next to each other, the directing, which Robert Rodriguez got shit on a lot for Boba Fett, I think he only directed maybe half the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't write he doesn't have writing credits, I don't believe, on any of them. Favreau has the majority of them. He escaped that show scot-free. Robert Rodriguez did not. And to me, it's night and day the quality of the direction, or at least, cinematography wise, of how the shows look between Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. Yet this Obi-Wan's getting way more positive reviews, even though I honestly can't stand the campiness of it. Plot holes aside, that it's really creating, which to me is a lot more damning. I'm just kind of baffled about the reaction to this. And this was the primary reason I had signed up for Disney Plus, for which I paid 3 years in advance.
Mm-hmm. Was
Before
Obi-Wan?
it came out, was Obi-Wan. I didn't know anything about the Mandalorian, and that blew me away. And then the other Marvel stuff, sure, it's been okay. Obi-Wan was the one that I was like, yes, I take my money now. Here's 3 years up front.
Would you say you've overall been disappointed with the shows on Disney Plus?
Yeah. On average, I think I'd have to say yes. I would say so far the only Star Wars show that thoroughly enjoyed, and like,
well, just in general of the Disney Plus shows. I mean, that's the
right, so
Marvels, the Disney Plus.
I'll say yes, but I would have to put more thought into it because I didn't love WandaVision, though I still think that's a solid show. It just wasn't for me, but like plot hole wise, directing wise, like I really didn't have that many issues with it. It just kind of sort of treaded water for a few episodes, which is kind of an issue we're seeing in a lot of these shows where there's just a lot of filler for very short series.
This might be a discussion
Falcon
for
and
another
Winter.
time. Too much about the Disney Plus and streaming
Right.
service quality aside, but you are saying that you are not enjoying this series as much as you're reading about other people enjoying it.
Right. I'm just a little surprised that, again, Boba Fett generally fairly negative. That, like, people didn't absolutely crap on the show entirely, but they're like, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow the character's history that we've known. Very little of it, by the way. They didn't like the directing, the dialogue, whatever. But I'm seeing way worse examples of that in this show, and people are like, "Oh yeah, it's great. I'm having tons of fun." I'm like, "What world am I living in?" But again, that's just me. I am keeping my fingers crossed that the second half of the show will be better.
And those are the same fingers you crossed over for again, Moon Knight getting better in the third half.
It did.
We'll talk about that.
But well, I'll just say, what was it? Episodes 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good, but that was 1/3 of the series. That's not the majority. So I guess if I'm grading on an average, no, Moon Knight wasn't very enjoyable.
Same fingers crossed that it's getting better. Same 2 fingers.
So I will say,
keep them all crossed.
Out of the 3 episodes, I liked episode 3, but that's because of the Vader stuff.
All right.
So if they're going to go back to them being on the run again and more precocious Leia and her running away from people, and
I mean, at the end of the episode, it seems that Leia is in the clutches of Riva. So we'll see.
So
Now
we'll
he's
have
got to
to see
go.
if Vader interacts with Leia and is like, "I have no idea who you are, child.
Yeah,
Be gone."
be gone.
Yeah,
I
this
don't
will
know
be
that Vader's
interesting.
gonna
I didn't
find
even think
Riva, but
about that.
it'll
I
be
didn't even think.
interesting to see what they do with that. Whether
Yeah,
it's Riva goes and brings the child to Leia, whether Riva uses the child as bait some more, whether how Obi Wan finally rescues her. Maybe they kill Leia and then they replace her with a clone. I don't know. Who knows?
that would make just as much sense as the beginning of this show. But
well,
yeah,
any other final
fingers
thoughts? I'll
crossed,
let you. Final thoughts. I'm
Yes.
saying I enjoyed it.
Uh,
I'm
mhm.
looking forward to more of it. I'm not crossing my fingers for it to be better because I think it's good. I'm enjoying the character. I know that you've got plot holes and stuff like that, but I think there's been some great revelations on the character, what Obi Wan was doing in that time between episodes 3 and 4. I
Making
enjoy
sushi?
this.
I
What?
don't know. Making
Making
sushi?
sushi. He made that magic. He
What
had magic
relationship
food.
is there?
He had that same magic food that Ray did, where like he had a
Yeah.
pot of water, put some powder in it, and then like food showed up.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. So I am. I really enjoyed all of the stuff, and I'm enjoying what's happening and seeing kind of the behind the scenes. But you go ahead, tell me your final thoughts. The
My
floor is
final.
yours.
I would like to start a petition to elect Dave Filoni as the Lord and Master of the Star Wars universe. Have him be the Kevin Feige of all Star Wars, and let him pick projects, writing teams, showrunners. He would probably never do it because I'm sure he loves doing this stuff himself. But we need like a solid vision and someone to be accountable for quality control of the stories and the directing and acting. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave Filoni. I can't wait for Mandalorian season 3.
I was looking for final thoughts on the series Obi Wan, but okay.
That's my positive thought is Mandalorian season 3. I'm hoping the last 3 episodes of I'm going to watch them. I really do hope that they are better.
All right.
I love Ewan McGregor. He's awesome. Let's do it for Ewan.
Do it for you and everybody. Okay. This has been what we just watched with the Flim-Flam Film Fans. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it. Leave a comment below with complaints about all the things we got wrong and how Ed is the worst person ever. And all the things that we got right, like how great I am. Hit the bell for notifications on all things Flim-Flam Film Fans and to hear all about the things that we just watched.